Welcome back to another episode of Viper's Take. I'm the host, Ryan Smith, aka DJ Viper. Thanks to everyone who was able to watch my second episode with Degafe and his producer T Money. If you missed it, you can find it by searching up on Spotify or YouTube Viper's Take, or you can find it on my IGTV at RJS_2021. I am pleased to announce my next guests, Randy and Camille. From their studies at East Stroudsburg and LIM College, they not only learn how to work and compete with some of the best designers in the country, but create pieces of art authentic to who they are. Interesting enough, Randy and Camille met each other as trainee and trainer in a retail position at Vine Vines in Manhattan, and since have become the closest of friends, both envious of fashion. Their innate skills have them becoming successful designers and leading their own company called Jordan & Roy. Randy serves as the founder and creative director of Jordan & Roy, while Camille is the lead stylist and associate creative director. They have since produced a number of sellout pieces, having recently procured a spot in the esteemed Philadelphia retailers P's and Q's, and were most recently contestants in their first fashion grant contest. I'm fortunate enough to have such creative designers in attendance today. Without further ado, I introduce you to Randy and Camille. Today I'm here with Camille and Randy. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Man, not a problem. Appreciate it. So you're really the first ones who aren't in music, you're more in fashion. I mean, art is in the music category, you're both expressing yourself in different ways. So what made you guys want to tap into fashion design? Like, was there any influences early on, or you just like knew off right at the back you wanted to kind of do design?
Do you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to LIM, so it's a fashion-based school. I went for a degree in fashion merchandising with international business, and I was also able to get my business degree with that. So I was kind of looking for something with fashion always, and then just waiting to see what would come about it. I was just started working for the sneaker company, and then all of a sudden I have this kid in my DMs. And I'm like, I know this guy. No. We used to work together in Junior Vines, like you mentioned. We hit it off the bat right away. We had instant chemistry. I think we just both are very headstrong and know what we want, and when we want it, we do it full force. So I already knew that whatever he asked or was asking, it was going to be good. I don't know where he came up with this idea or why it started, but that's where it became for me. Yeah.
For myself, I mean, the fashion part of it, the clothing piece of it, not the making, but the wearing was always a thing. Even from when I was a super, super young kid, my mom would take myself and her friends' kids, who were my friends, would take us out shopping with them. And if you were good, you got to pick where you ate after. So shopping was already, and the business of fashion was already correlated with something kind of cool. Decision making on my own part, but also being able to pick the food for the night. Just like living in New York City, there's always something to eat. So that was where I got the love for having or finding clothes, or being able to style them with my mom asking for help from the time I was a really small kid. So the color and yada 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 went together really well. But the making of it didn't happen until super late. I think I was 24?
Yeah.
24, 25, where that kind of changed. I was sitting at home. I think I just dropped out of med school that year. I was sitting at home in my mom's basement, and I kind of got the buzz to make a swim shorts. I didn't have any, and I was just talking about, like, I need to go get another pair of swim shorts, but you just pick a brand and kind of hope they make some, and hope they fit well. So I called up a buddy, called up Kenny, and I was like, hey, if I made these, would you buy them? And he was like, yeah, I'll buy them. I was like, no, not because I made them. Would you buy them? He's like, yeah, I would buy them. So that started the pinball and like the swimsuit thing, and then the next immediate like call and message was to Camille, like, how do I carry this out?
It's crazy. Anything like I'm networking, trying to make friends not only in my industry, but just people who I'm interested in what they're doing. And how crucial do you think that is, especially in your industry in fashion?
It's indescribable how important that is. The support piece of it, of course, I can go tit for tat and say I do things on my own. Just for the large majority, like it's a self thing. Even Camille's properties and responsibilities, it's a her thing. Yo, do this. I don't want to know about it. Call me if you have a problem. You know what I mean? Like I don't care. Call me if you have a problem. You know what I mean? We're in this together. Yo, I don't know what I'm doing. That's why I got you for. So, but on top of that, her know-how with it. Everyone usually gives me accolades like, Randy, this is so sick, or the design, or this or that. And While the buck stops with me, I can override anything that we do. The buck kind of stops with her. If she's not, Randy, this isn't going to translate well, or this isn't going to go on this the way that you think it's going to, then scrap it. We got to figure out something else because she knows what she's talking about. But then when it comes to the connections amongst the town, I mean, I can't thank my friends. I look right at the camera. I can't thank my friends enough, especially down here when it comes to the whole nightlife scene and the DJs, whether it be Danny on deck, whether it be the whole Wreck and Royal family, Weston Down, Santino, Nico, everybody, David Mai, they've all accepted me here, put me on into their spotlight that they've gotten, giving me all the ins to the restaurants, all their connections, studios, people. So it's been amazing. Our photographer, Zach Connor, State Concept.
Oh yeah.
Without that kid, I don't think we'd be where we are today at all.
At all.
And he continues to pump out insane content for us with his massive connections, putting us in touch with some really important people. It's been nuts, man. Yeah, it's important, extremely.
Was there anything you wanted to add, Camille? I feel like Randy kind of hit that on.
Sorry.
No, you definitely did.
Sorry, guys.
I leave most of the talking to him because I call him Rambling Randy, but it's good. But honestly, you can think of it as a bunch of different things, but I think of it as more positive because whenever I'm stuck on something, I look at him and he's on it. He's already 10 feet ahead of me before I even ask him for help. So I think he got it down fast.
10 feet ahead of myself, too.
Yeah, for sure.
I gotta catch up.
Yeah, I was wondering, kind of like behind your branding and that, like Jordan and Roy, who came up with that name?
When it comes to the name and why the branding is so important, I founded Jordan and Roy, and I think as a person, I think of it as a collective. We're a unit together, she and I, but collectively, I always say it, team wins. Everybody in our cohort, everybody in our camp, we try to make sure they're always doing good. It's a family thing. Everybody who's really rocking with us from the sandbox, that's our camp, you know what I mean? So it's a family thing in that regard, but then the name, I came up with that, kind of sort of slip on in the shower. It's actually my middle name and my best friend at the time, his middle name. And I knew I wanted my name on it in some way because I needed that legacy. I needed that attachment to the brand that would keep me honest. Because if it's got your name on it, you've got to stay honest. It's your namesake. But then including the opposite half of that was just kind of sort of tying that this is a collective in its larger scheme. Sorry that it wasn't your middle.
I don't think it would have worked as well. Jordan and Ava, I don't know.
So with branding, like Jordan and Roy, how you guys like created that name, how do you think that's helped you, like being yourself through like such unprecedented times we're having? Like, I know you guys probably had setbacks, but taking it from who you are and knowing that you want to express this image and you want to state yourself, how has that made you get through the toughest of times here?
I'll let Camille. I want to see what your answer would be to that, because I know about our tough times. I know about the things that I have to do on the back end over here to kind of sort of make the world spin. I know you have to do the same, and I don't get to hear about it. So
honestly, I go off of him, and I think it's just like if I know I've mentioned this before, but I know that I can't fail because I don't want to watch him fail, and I don't want to watch this fail. So I know I will do whatever I can because I know he'll do whatever he can to keep this going to where it needs to be. And I think that's like the most important thing. And if something doesn't sell, we move on to the next thing and we make it a fucking banger. And that's what we did. That's what we do. That's what we did. And
I never get to hear her curse like that either. That
sorry.
Awesome.
I try not to curse as much as possible.
Awesome.
But when it's right, it's right. And there's always doubts. I mean, there's a doubt when I put on a sweatshirt and I'm like, it's gonna be too hot. And then I'm like, yeah, it's too hot. But I put it on and I keep it on because it is what it is and it goes with my outfit. But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like
very rudimentary way to compare these
I
two things.
know. But whatever. I'm very odd. That makes me me. So there's always a doubt in everything, but this is like something that I really like and I'm really into. And even if it's something that I don't like to fail because then that's on me. And it's like if someone asks me about it in the future and I say, yeah, well, I just gave up, that's like sucks. That's like a really sick feeling. So.
I think there's setbacks for everyone, like she was saying. It happens all the time. I mean, even this go round, we had, another thing about fashion isn't like music, isn't like sports, isn't like any of these other third-party things where like you can get signed and then everything changes, or you can get picked up off waivers and now you have a big ass paycheck. Everything that you see, especially starting out early, comes directly from my pocket. So I work to make sure that this works, to make sure that this works for me, so I can go back to work. You know what I mean? To make sure this works. And so in that regard, we always have setbacks, whether it be outside or inside. This last release, we had 27, 30 hoodies that we just didn't go with, solely because they just weren't exactly it. Could I have sold them? Yeah. Could I have made a profit on them? Absolutely. Did they look sick? Yeah, I wore them for a time being until these came in. But they weren't exactly what she and I had come up with and sent over and modeled out, so we scrapped it. And that's legitimately me just throwing money away. So that kind of thing happens all the time. But it's the difference between knowing that what you were going to produce is better than the sum of the fails that you just had. So let's take one more crack at it and see what happens. We definitely have misses all the time. We have things that move far slower than other things. But if I believed in it or she believes in it, we'll go to bat for it. The money's already spent, I can't get it back. Whatever I see after that, technically, even though we don't break even, technically, after the money's gone, it's already gone. I've already gone to work, recouped said money. So any money that I see from that, to me, is just like, oh, it's a win, you know what I mean? So setbacks are always going to be there, but if you keep trying, it'll work out. This one's worked out really well for us this weekend.
Yeah, like on the flip side, I would love to hear more about your achievements and like accolades and what you're doing. I'm sure if you can attest to how you're able to persevere and stay driven through the toughest of times, I'm sure your accomplishments something to be reckoned with as well. So I would appreciate if you could share with our audience kind of the achievements and what you're seeing your future look like where you guys going.
I think our biggest achievement to date we were talking about is going to be the installment that we had in P's and Q's. Which is a local Philadelphia retailer. They have been huge for Philadelphia on South Street, which is a huge. I had to learn that. I had to learn the gravity kind of sort of where I was and where the brand was, I guess, in terms of visibility off of that location. So that's a big thing. That was cool. So the P's and Q's thing was really, 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 really an awesome experience for us for exposure, visibility, and being inside of a retailer and continuing business with them this week. I think after that, some of our other biggest wins definitely have to come from working with the people we work with. Working with Mickey James is cool. Mickey James is a musician, a rock musician, rock, pop, all of the above. He's the next huge thing. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's been really intense to be able to get to work with him and become so close personally myself with him, which has been sweet. And then after that is going to be, talking about it again, the Philadelphia notoriety, the people who wear our clothes and support our business here, support what we do. Not only support fiscally, but support outwardly. I've gotten many a referral from a friend or local socialite who loves something that they saw somebody else wearing and was passed down verbally to them. So that's been really big. Shout out to Philadelphia. You guys have been really welcoming to the kid. It's been awesome.
Yeah, and going off Mickey James, right? So wanted to know, was there any other like fashion designers, anybody out there that the audience doesn't know of who you think people should go find their designs or who you would want to collab with?
If to go find their designs, somebody should know about me. That's why you're here.
That's right.
We are the show. Me. True. You should look up Randy Philpotts. You should look up Camille Galliano. You should look up Jordan and Roy. Besides that, I think out of the big box guys, I'm really, really in love. My first designer love is always going to be Yves Saint Laurent. Yves himself, I've watched all of his documentaries. I love his philosophy, love the way he designs, love the lines he makes. I've always been a huge Celine fan, big Phoebe Philo person.
Oh, my favorite.
Phoebe Philo's number one in terms of directors over there when she was there. As well as someone who never misses, Anita Bing. Anita Bing has been someone who's been really cool. I've been able to speak with her via social media. And it's cool because she's got the big blue check, millions of followers, and she still answers, so that's really sweet. That's been something really cool. In terms of people I want to collaborate with, we just did our first collaborative effort with Atlanta tattoo artist Cody Smith, which has been really cool. There's, of course, some artists that I would want to put in there, but if I ever had to see my pieces on somebody, the first person I'd want to see a piece on would probably be Black Bear. If I ever had the chance to have one celebrity like, hey man, I want something. I would drive that pumper out.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for sure. What about you?
Yeah,
I was. You have no idea. I was literally gonna say Black Bear, and I think
Bear gets it done. I can't.
yeah, we're both huge fans. And I love his style. He just has great style. Even his merch. Like I feel like, I mean, you don't know if he's really like the creative sense in his merchandise because it could just be a whole creative team taking over, and he's just like, yeah, whatever, improve. But I feel like all of his merch is him.
When you were talking about kind of like shouting out to our audience, like Jordan and Roy and what you guys do, what makes your product and style so different from those other in the surrounding area? Like, why would people want to buy Jordan and Roy?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we do a really good job. Our slogan, our motto in and of itself is encapsulating the feel and nostalgia of yesterday's favorites while making tomorrow's quality classics. So when it comes down to finding Jordan Roy and finding a piece that works for you with us, we try to make pieces that feel good, but pieces that you can see yourself in long term, pieces that work, pieces that can become, not everything's going to work, I can tell you that, in your wardrobe. We don't make clothes for that. There are pieces that we make that are made to be worn certain times all the time. The jacket I'm in now is one of them, one of our core jackets, probably one of the softest corduroy jackets I've ever worn. But it's a great convertible piece. Camille's got on one of our crew necks, one of our first ones we made, and I think it works well. She's wearing it up well. You can also wear it down well. So, but then behind that, I mean, we're making bangers and pieces. I don't. Of course, like the competition is through myself and what we've done last. But my major three right now, who I look at, who I can see are making all of the right steps and all the right changes in the way they go about their business. Those top three are going to be Ronnie Fag and Keith and Kith, Luigi Villasenor, Rude, and Mike Amiri and Amiri. Those three, while stylistically are all very different, are all doing everything that I hope to be able to do and competing in an arena that I hope to crack into. So if I'm going to take this on, if we're going to take this on and make pieces to work, we got to compete against them. So we're coming.
Yeah, it's definitely well said. I think this is a great segue to kind of showcase some of those pieces that you got. So thanks for all joining us today, Randy and Camille. I appreciate it. Really look forward to seeing some of their exclusive merch that they'll be dropping. They'll be in our next segment. Thanks, Evan.
Thank you.
Hey man, hit us up, www.jordanroy.co. That's CO. A little different, because we're different. We're going to be different. Go ahead over there and get some.
Best friends in your rhythm like it's frozen. Oh, girl, I think I really throwing. Look it up in the mirror, hit the poses. Best friend, you my motherfucking soulmate. Best friends in your rhythm like it's frozen. Oh, girl, I think I really throwing. Look it up in the mirror, hit the poses. Best friend, you my motherfucking soulmate. Real, that money, real, add that.